This happened when I was about 5 years old. Every year, my parents loved to throw a birthday party at our house and invite many relatives and friends. Our family is quite big, so the house was always bustling with activity. Since it was summertime, we decided to have the party in our backyard. People started arriving in the early afternoon. I always enjoyed family birthday parties, especially when they were for me. I remember seeing my presents pile up and feeling excited. I was surprised by how many people showed up, and I was busy talking with everyone throughout the day. However, there was a man I didn't recognize at the party, and I thought he came with one of my family members. Later, he approached me and said he was an old friend of my father's and couldn't believe how well I had grown. He mentioned that if my father said I behaved well this year, I would get an even bigger gift next year. His words made me excited, but his actions were quite strange. He mostly stood around without talking to anyone. As the party went on into the night, people started leaving. I helped clean up and tried out some of my new gifts before going to bed. I woke up around 3 a.m. and went downstairs to get a glass of water. While in the kitchen, I heard strange noises coming from the living room. Thinking it might be my mom, I went to the living room and the noises stopped. I turned on the lamp next to the couch, and there I was greeted with the same guy. He claimed he forgot his phone and didn't want to wake my parents. He told me to be a good kid and not wake anyone up, and that I would get a bigger gift next year if I obeyed. I went quietly back up to my room and closed the door behind me. I made an effort to drift back to sleep and be a good kid. The next morning, I woke up early to my mom screaming downstairs. When I went to the room where my parents were, I found out that most of our electronic devices were stolen. I was confused and told my parents about seeing the man the night before. My parents tried to get as much information as they could from me, but as a 5-year-old, my description wasn't very helpful. I was angry with myself for not waking my parents up that night, but I also felt relieved that the man didn't harm me or anyone in my family. This happened 5 years ago. It was undoubtedly the worst birthday I ever had. My parents were out of town, so I decided to throw a huge party at my house. I invited many of my friends and told them to bring along others to make it a big celebration. The party started off decently enough, with everyone having fun. Then, at one point during the night, I noticed 2 guys wandering around the party who didn't seem to belong there. It wasn't because of how they looked or dressed. What struck me was that while everyone else was engaged in conversation, drinking, or dancing, these guys seemed lost or like they were searching for someone. At the time, I didn't think much of it, considering the number of people coming and going from the house. However, a close friend of mine also noticed them and brought it up to me. I admitted that I didn't know who they were. After asking all of my close friends, I decided to approach the 2 guys. But as I was about to confront them, I noticed they were leaving through the front door, so I thought the issue was resolved. It was almost midnight, so I told everyone it was time to end the party. Everyone left except for 2 of my close friends who were too drunk and fell asleep on the couch. I figured they could leave in the morning, so while I was upstairs brushing my teeth to get ready for bed, I heard noises coming from downstairs. I assumed one of my friends had woken up, so I checked downstairs to find both of them still asleep. I started to feel nervous as I called out their names, but received no response. I began to think that maybe one of the guests had gotten drunk and passed out somewhere in the house. Then, I swear, I saw 2 shadowy figures lurking in the dimly lit room where my friends were asleep. I announced loudly that I was heading to bed, then went into my room, locked the door, dialed 911, and informed them that there were intruders in my house. Just as I heard footsteps climbing the stairs, I heard the sound of police sirens outside my house. I heard them rushing down the stairs. A police officer rang the bell and announced loudly that he was a police officer. I quickly went downstairs to let him in and informed him that the intruders had just fled. The police searched around the house, but found no one. Some items, including expensive watches that my dad had bought, were stolen. My parents were furious and forbade me from ever hosting a party at the house again. 10 years ago, when I turned 5, my parents decided to throw a big birthday party. Our house was filled with lots of people, friends and their kids. I had a blast playing with all the toys and was thrilled to see the pile of presents with my name on them. Everything seemed perfect. Well, among the guests was a lady named Samantha, a friend of my mom's from university. She approached me and complimented how much I had grown. Samantha gave me a gift that appeared to be a toy car. I expressed my gratitude and told her how much I loved the present. Then she mentioned that her father wanted to meet me and give me another gift. She said that he couldn't walk, so we had to go to him by the car. Being a kid, I didn't think twice and agreed to go with her. As we reached the front door, I noticed the car waiting for us was quite old. Inside sat a middle-aged man. A slight nervous feeling crept in. Just as we were about to leave the front yard, my dad spotted us and yelled for me to stop. The lady hurried back to the car and they sped away. After that, my dad scolded me, emphasizing the importance of not trusting strangers and always asking for permission. Later, my parents reported the incident to the police to ensure no one else would fall into such a trap. Reflecting on that day, I'm grateful my dad intervened, as I can't imagine what might have happened if I had gone with that lady.